Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Audio tape made a big difference in the way radio programs and a lot of audio productions were produced. And you're going to hear about that today, back from the early days. This is an episode of the CBS Radio Workshop, as it was originally broadcast on May 25th, 1957. No, it's not a horror comedy. That's just what tape machines used to be, because the title is I Have Three Heads.
Passing tape over three heads, one for erasing, one for recording, the third for playback.
And the CBS Radio Workshop, dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind, presents I Have Three Heads, a study of the techniques, the possibilities, and the improbabilities of tape recording. Today's workshop was conceived and created by CBS radio engineer Mort Goldberg. In today's workshop,
Mr. Goldberg has been aided and abetted by... hey, hold on.
Slow down, wait a minute. Too fast. Too...
That was Stu Metz. Nice guy, but loves to talk, like all announcers. Aided and abetted by a writer, a director, who needs them? All you need for a good bang-up tape job is a good engineer like Morty and a trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly tape machine like me. That's all you need. Morty and I, we put our heads together. His one head and my three, and we can do anything. Yes, sir, anything. Uh-oh. Who's this coming in? Don't they know this tape room's closed until tomorrow morning?
Okay, Bill. Tape room 18's clear. Ready to take her inside there? Right.
Maintenance men. Prod you, poke you, take your insides out. Regular little Dr. Kildare's.
Man, these new machines get heavier all the time. You said it. Lift a couple of these every day, and you could bend steel bars in a circus. Right.
New machine. What gives? Am I on the way out?
Okay. Let's put it down for a minute and rest. I'm tired, boy. Get a cable. We'll have to stretch it to the new box. Over in the corner. Got it. Well, what are you waiting for? What about tools? You got them? All except the wrench that fell out of my pocket. In the elevator. I'll go get it. Easy. Let's take the old machine out or we won't have room to work. These tape rooms aren't any bigger than a cell.
Right. Which one of these old machines goes?
Don't you know?
I don't know. Don't you?
Joe didn't tell you himself?
I thought Joe told you.
Okay, skip it. He's out. We'll have to wait till he comes back from supper.
Well, that's maintenance men for you. They can tell you transistor 205 connects to pole 83 on the BX sub-transformer, but when it comes to replacing one of the three experienced machines in this tape room, they should go back to plumbing. Sure hope it won't be me. Say, maybe this new machine knows who he's replacing. Hi, you here, aren't you?
That's obvious at first glance, I should say.
Well, we were all bright and new once. I'm Howard Ampex, Model 200. And you?
Gerald Ampex, Model 350.
We must be cousins.
Distant, I'm sure.
Wait till this time tomorrow. Wait till you've worked 12, 14 hours steadily. Fast forward, rewind, stop, edit, fast forward, stop, edit, fast forward, dub, loop, rewind. I hope I'll see you after a week.
I doubt whether you will.
What do you mean by that?
I saw how you trembled when I was ushered in a few minutes ago. You're quite sure I'm here to replace you, aren't you?
Oh, am I? I heard those maintenance men talking. I remember every syllable of every word, like a good tape machine should.
I'm quite aware of what they said.
Are you? Let me play them back to you. Remember? The tape room door opened, and then Frank and Bill started talking.
Okay, Bill. Tape room 18's clear.
Right.
There's no machine inside there.
Right.
Well, what are you waiting for? Let's steal her.
What about Joe?
Joe comes back from supper. Get it wrenched and stretch him out in a box.
Right.
Okay, let's skip. The elevator man's in my pocket. Let's lift, take her out, and sell her.
Well, now, Gerald, which of us machines is going out tonight?
Howard Ampex, that's the most dishonest thing I ever heard.
What's dishonest? I didn't change a word.
You changed the order of the words. You changed the whole implication of their conversation.
Cousin, you sure have a lot to learn about tape editing.
You mean that's what we do here? You...
Certainly not. We don't change meanings, that is. You're right. It is dishonest. That's why tape recordings are thrown out in the courts of most states. That's why editing for broadcast takes an entirely different turn.
There was a...
What's that?
A voice on the tape room floor. Just part of a day's work. An hour's work, more or less.
It took a whole hour to get that?
Let me explain. This morning, Morty came in with a fella named George Vikas. Produces a show called Update. Vikas and Morty had a German student on a piece of tape.
I got to know a few students. My own impression from America students was that there was a...
Now, Gerald, is that clear?
There is more.
Well, it's rather hard to get the drift.
Of course it was. With radio, people are listening on small sets. People are listening in cars. Things have got to be very clear. You play something like that, all over the country, people think something's wrong with their radio.
So how did you save the country?
What? Oh, Morty and I go to work. Morty wants to start at the beginning of the student's words, so he punches me into rewind. Here we are, back at the beginning. Morty punches my start button, and the tape starts unreeling from the feed reel to the take-up reel. It passes by my 3 heads, one for erasing, the second for recording the sounds and words that are fed into it, and the third for playing back what's already on the tape. It's this third, the playback head, we're using now as we catch the student's first words.
I got to know a few students.
Morty punches my stop button. Back we go to find that
What's that very odd noise?
Manual operation. Morty's working the machine by hand.
Well, really, by hand?
You'll have many a hand laid on you before you go back to maintenance for your first checkup. And many a razor blade, too.
Razor blade?
We're coming to that. Morty's found the Now he opens the gate, exposing the heads. He marks the spot for the cut. You'll hear him dropping the pencil.
Where's the razor blade?
My boy, never let it be said we tape machines give any external evidence of the anxiety, the pain, the shock of having a sharp razor blade passed across us a dozen times an hour. The next sound you hear will be the snick of the splicing tape, the tape machine's band-aids. Then the tape is put back in the gate is closed, and we're off again.
And my own.
What happened to the words you were editing?
This is a pro job, son. Morty goes on to tighten the space between the words my and own. There you have it. Now you'll hear what Morty's edited so far. Taking out the tightening the space between the my and own.
A few students. My own impression.
Uh-oh. Another to come out. And an im from that impression. So Morty makes a mark after my own, pulls the tapes by hand this time, and marks the tape ready to cut after the first im.
My own
That was me, rewinding. Now, here we go forward.
My own impression from America, students.
Another to come out. Let's see how fast Morty can make this.
America. Reaction from America students was that there is more.
Stop! What's the matter, Gerald? Are you shaking your heads?
Howard, it can go like this all day?
It's a tough grind, but let me show you how it will sound after an hour or so. That's when you're proud of yourself and your engineer.
I got to know a few students. My own impression from America students was that there is more in the people of this country than that kind of materialism which the tourists expose.
Well, that's very interesting. That's... Howard? Are you crying?
Excuse me, Gerald. It's just so clear, so beautiful, the work I do.
Too bad I haven't some soft music for your emotional jag.
Music?
Music made a big difference in the way radio was produced and audio was produced. From May 26, 1957, the CBS Radio Workshop, I Have Three Heads on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
The buy one, get one free special going on now at MyPillow. MyPillow bed sheets, Giza Elegance MyPillows, the roll and go anywhere MyPillows, and 6-piece towel sets on special. Go to mypillow.com/USA, use promo code USA, or call 1-800-951-8175 and find out all the great deals you can get right now at MyPillow. mypillow.com/USA. Just as audio tape changed the face of audio production, so have computer audio workstations like the one that we use to record this show on. They have made all sorts of difference and make us able to do lots of things. Cleaning up sound, digitally transforming the shows so that you hear a much cleaner show than probably the people who were listening to the show in the first place ever heard. May 26, 1957, the CBS Radio Workshop, I Have Three Heads.
Too bad I haven't some soft music for your emotional jag.
Music? Now, that's where you can have some fun. Have you seen My Fair Lady?
My Fair Lady? What's that?
A musical show I wrote.
Oh, you?
Well, I helped, in a way. Morty and I taped some of Julie Andrews' Cockney pronunciations, and Mr. Harrison making with phonetics. And we taped a funny babble-babble of women's voices you hear on the My Fair Lady record, too. They promised me 2 seat, but I never got them.
Yes. Did I mention that I play classical music extremely well?
You did? As a matter of fact, you'll probably be very good at cleaning tapes.
Cleaning tapes?
Bringing foreign tapes up to American broadcast quality. Jim Fassett, he's our music commentator who has a program here on Sunday afternoons, World Music Festivals. He goes to Europe and brings back orchestras and singers in concerts American audiences might never hear. But listen. That's not good broadcast quality, is it?
Sounds like the Oskaloosa Little Symphony.
On us American machines, yes. But remember, Gerald, these tapes are made in Europe. Different machines. Jim and Morty and I work on these European tapes to restore the original quality. Take this piece of tape. You and I switch back and forth. You play the Fassett, Morty, Howard American version. I'll play the original tape. Here I go.
So good night, folks.
What in the world was that?
A piece of Jack Benny tape that Morty and I lost this afternoon. Wondered where it was.
Does this happen often?
Not often enough to my way of thinking. Boy, could we have fun. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. However, let me give you a case of where Morty and I did mix some tapes deliberately. You like band music?
Military, college, circus, jazz, or street corner?
Military. Not one, but 4 of them. This same fella, Vikas, that I told you about, he and Morty and I put together an audition for a show that hasn't been broadcast yet. A show called Sounds of the World. That music is the band up at West Point playing. We also got tapes of a band at Buckingham Palace, another band from France, and still another band playing in Red Square in Moscow. We also got tapes of 4 sergeants, 1 from each country, and let them give the command to march. For international cooperation, how do you like this?
Company! Ready to report!
Of the world. 4 military bands from West Point, England, France, and Russia. Maybe they ought to trade the UN for a good tape machine, eh, Gerald?
I like that, Howard.
Sort of liked it myself, if I do say it as shouldn't.
Say, Howard, what's that tune?
That tune? Oh, it's a little number I wrote myself.
Oh, before or after you wrote My Fair Lady?
Well, to edit this statement correctly, I, little old Howard Ampex of Tape Room 18, am probably the only tape machine that had a song especially arranged for him. For years, Morty has played tape backwards and forwards and upside down. But he has never had the chance, until just the other day, to find out what happened when an orchestra taped a song backwards, and then I played it forward again. Says Morty to himself, what happens to the instruments? So that's where Hank Silverne entered. And this is how Hank arranged T for Two straight. Now, I taped that, and here's how it would sound if played backwards. You see? Almost everybody's done that, including the 2 million people who own home tape recorders. But now came the job of orchestrating T for Two backwards, so that the musicians began with the last note and played it through to the first note.
Does this make your head hurt? Because these are little things that you can do, but it's just so time-consuming. You can do it even easier with an audio workstation like I used to produce this program. We'll hear how it turned out. May 26, 1957, the CBS Radio Workshop here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of the CBS Radio Workshop. I Have 3 Heads, The Miracle of Audio Tape, which was dramatically new in 1957. And listen at how they are able to manipulate this recording of T for Two so that T for Two backwards sounds pretty good.
Here's how that sounded. We had 7 top musicians, Hank at the piano, then guitar, bass, drums, vibes, sax, and trumpet. 4 musicians who could play T for 2 straight in their sleep. This backward arrangement almost drove them to the point of turning in their union cards. But you should have seen their faces a few minutes later. Here's what we've been working for. A popular song, T for 2, orchestrated and played backwards. Now reversed and played forward so that the tune is recognizable. Did you ever hear music like this?
Holy smoke, Howard! That's out of this world.
Well, let's say just barely in it. First time anybody but Morty and me and Hank and a few others have heard that music.
Gosh, Howard, I feel so low.
Low? About what?
I didn't recognize you as a pioneer.
Don't be corny and call me the tape machine's tape machine. It's all in the day's work. Come on, cheer up, Gerald. Uh-oh, someone's coming.
Well, Bill, all set to get this new machine rolling? Right. What number machine are we taking out?
Number 20. Got your wrench?
What wrench?
The one you left in the elevator earlier.
I got it.
Well, hold it a minute. I forgot mine.
I guess it's goodbye. Number 20.
Cheer up, Gerald. Old tape machines never die. They just go back and get new heads.
If they come around with those 2 tickets they promised you for My Fair Lady, shall Morty and I tell them where you are?
Don't bother. Morty made his own special version out of 3 recordings. Charlie Applewhite, Sylvia Sims, and Dinah Shores. Want to hear it? Just for kicks?
Fast forward, stop, start, and just for kicks.
I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before. I could have danced, all night long. I didn't, you called me grand. I didn't, but now it's time to sleep.
Today's workshop, I Have 3 Heads, was conceived and created by CBS radio engineer Mortimer Goldberg. Mr. Goldberg has been aided and abetted by the following: Charles S. Monroe, writer; Ira Ashley, director in New York; Jackson Beck as Howard; Ian Martin as Gerald; and Ralph Bell and Bill Quinn as the maintenance men. Hank Silverne, arranger and conductor. Stuart Metz, your announcer. The Workshop wishes to thank James Fassett, Irving Gitlin, George Bekas, and others who contributed portions of program material used today. Next week, from Hollywood, a satiric fantasy written by and starring Stan Freberg about the entertainment competition in a desert spa roughly paralleling Las Vegas.
By the way, that fantasy would never appear on the CBS Radio Workshop. It would instead appear on the Stan Freberg Show. And I think that was probably best because CBS really was not happy, and a lot of people were not happy with the way Incident at Los Barrosis came out on the radio. It was very, well, you know, we do the Stan Freberg Show and excerpts of that periodically. You've probably heard Incident at Los Barrosis. But that was the CBS Radio Workshop, May 26, 1957, and I Have Three Heads. By the way, in case you're wondering why all that echo was there, CBS did that a lot. And I think a lot of the reason they did so much echo was primarily to cover editing, because sometimes editing the little tape edits could be noisy, and they did that to kind of cover it up. You never noticed it. You never heard any of the edits, did you? May 26, 1957, CBS Radio Workshop here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we're going to go back almost 90 years to May 26, 1933, an episode of Chandu the Magician.
Beatrice, the astronomer, introduces to Chandler and the regents a young woman named Mira, who is to be used to learn Chandler's plans and defeat them. She pretends to ask Chandler's help in finding an ancient family parchment, supposed to be hidden in a ruined jungle temple. He agrees to help her. The present act opens in Chandler's study the following afternoon. Chandu the Magician.
And as you suggested, Mr. Chandler, I told Beatrice I'd been invited here to tea. Here are the plans of the ruined temple.
I'll unroll them, Mira. They must be very old. They're drawn on parchment.
Oh, yes. No one knows when they were drawn or who drew them.
Where did you get them?
They've always been among... I'll show you a little more about the temple. You see, the altar is here.
Well, what are these lines on each side of the altar?
Oh, those were the pedestals on which the gods once stood.
What sort of gods were they? Do you happen to know?
Well, yes. There were two enormous seated figures, one with his hands outstretched holding a bowl, and the other... Well, I can't remember what the other one was.
The figures are not there now.
Oh, no, they're no longer there. There's a legend that for thousands of years a strange green light burned on the altar, and it was supposed to burn forever. There were certain priests whose duty it was to see that it was kept alight.
What?
Why, Mr. Chandler.
Go on, won't you?
Well, the tribal legend goes that one night an unbeliever made his way into the temple and extinguished the light, and that at once the gods became so angry they destroyed the temple.
It is a strange coincidence that you should tell me that, Mira.
Why?
I've heard this story before, but in a place far from Java.
Well, how interesting. Where was it?
Oh, it isn't important. Let's talk of it later, shall we? I don't want to keep you so long that Beatrice will become suspicious.
You are very kind to take your time to help me, Mr. Chandler.
I'm glad to do whatever I can.
Is it true you've learned many of the secrets of the East?
Did Beatrice tell you that?
Beatrice? Oh, no. No, By the way, may I tell you something about Jeffrey Marshall? In confidence, Mr. Chandler?
Certainly.
He's supposed to be writing a book on Java. But the truth is, he's had some sort of mental shock, and his people in England sent him to Java for a long rest.
Did Mr. Marshall tell you this himself?
No. Beatrice told me.
Oh, yes. The night Beatrice gave the dinner for Naji, he said Mr. Marshall was not well enough to dine with us.
Princess Naji is a fascinating woman, isn't she? I suppose it's partly because there's an air of mystery about her.
An air of mystery about Naji?
Yes. There is something mysterious about her. Something that doesn't seem quite to belong to this world. Sometimes when conversation is going on all about her, she seems to be 1,000 years away.
It's strange you should say Naji seems a little unearthly, because that's precisely the impression you give.
I?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, I think I must go now.
Perhaps it would be as well. I'll study this plan of the temple later and speak with you again about it.
Mr. Chandler, there's something I'd like to ask you.
Why, what is it, Mira?
I'm wondering if... Do you really trust me?
Of course I do. Why should you ask me that?
Well, I mean, I know you must have many experiences with plots and perhaps quite unconsciously suspect everyone.
No. But I must have time to go over the plan and decide how to proceed. You can see that.
Oh, of course I can. I'm awfully sorry. And I'll go now, so I needn't interrupt your work any longer. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Highness. I'm just leaving. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mira. Chandu, may I come in for a moment?
Of course, Naji. Come in. Did you manage to decipher the parchment we found on the island?
No, Chandu. I have studied it ever since you brought it to me, but there is nothing to give me the key to the writing.
Isn't it maddening? I feel the whole secret's within our grasp. And still because we can't read this parchment, we're completely baffled.
But if the symbols are so difficult, Chandu, it must be that somewhere there is a key.
I know that. And only a few moments ago, I came to this conclusion. We know there's something hidden in the wine cellar of your palace in Cairo.
Yes. Do you think that is the key?
It may be. Or it may be the other half of this parchment.
You're right. But if it is, we are still without the key.
I wonder if we are. I've just learned that in a certain ruined temple here in Java, a parchment has long been hidden. Suppose that were the key.
But if it is, how will you find it?
I think I have a means of finding it.
I have sent a code message asking Abu to have the cellars of the palace searched.
I hope he can find the hiding place.
Abu will find it if he must pull the palace to the ground. As soon as he has found the parchment, he will send me a message, and we will know what we must do.
Yes, but you're not going already.
Dorothy has something to say to me, Chandu. I told her I would not be long.
I'll see you at dinner then.
Yes. Dorothy.
Here I am, Naji. I want to talk to you before Bobby and Betty come back.
Shall we go into the garden?
No. I'm afraid someone will hear us. Let's sit here, shall we?
What is troubling you?
Naji, I want to do something to help Frank.
But you are helping him by simply remaining in Java, Dorothy. He has spoken of it to me more than once.
Oh, that's nothing. And he's done everything for us.
Dorothy, you are not proposing to speak to Beatrice.
But I think I know a way. Beatrice is always urging me to become a sort of an assistant to him in his work in the observatory.
But, Dorothy...
I'm going to try it. Suppose I could learn that Beatrice had some sort of occult powers that he was using against Frank. Oh, don't you see how important it would be for Frank to know that?
Yes, Dorothy, but you must not. We know Beatrice has certain powers, whether they are only hypnotic or whether they extend far deeper into the unknown is not for us to question, especially for you. Oh, if you should fall under the spell of Beatrice, I should never forgive myself.
But I won't. There's no reason why I should, and it may be possible for me to learn, any number of things. And there's no reason why I should waste time trying to cast a spell over me.
Oh, do not make light of his powers, Dorothy. You do not know what forces you may be invoking when you defy Beatrice.
Oh, I'm sure he won't harm me. And anyway, if I can learn something that can help Frank, well, I'm not going to be afraid to try. I'm going over there now.
Must you go at once?
Of course I must. I'll just run over as if I'd become bored and decided to avail myself of his offer.
I will be thinking of you, Dorothy.
Don't take it so seriously, Naji. My dear, what could happen?
Many things of which you can know nothing.
Well, the children should be back in a little while. Tell them where I've gone, will you? Now, don't worry about me. And I thought if you still wanted me to help you, Beatrice, I'd be glad to try.
I shall be most happy to have you assist me, Mrs. Regent. You are so strangely sensitive to occult forces that I am sure we shall accomplish many things.
To occult forces? You mean you have occult powers yourself? Oh, I see. That must be why you understand the laws of ancient Lemuria as you do.
Mrs. Regent, may I ask you a question?
Why, certainly.
Then, do you really believe the story of Lemuria?
Yes. I've never known much about it, but there's no reason why I shouldn't believe it. You aren't trying to tell me it isn't true.
No, indeed. I ask you only that I may know how we can begin the things we are to do together. Would you be willing to look again at the books?
You mean those great books of drawings of Lemuria?
Yes. Would you?
Why, yes. Yes, I'd be willing to look at them again. I'm sorry I was so stupid as to be frightened at the pictures you showed us the other night.
Would you like to look at them now, or shall we make an appointment for another day?
Oh, no. Let's look at them now, shall we?
You are quite sure that you will be free from interruption by your family for some time?
Oh, yes.
Very well, then. I'm glad we may begin at once. Will you come over here to this table, Mrs. Regent?
Of course.
I can trust your discretion, I am sure.
You mean I'm not to speak of this to anyone?
If you will be so kind.
I see.
First, may I tell you that Mr. Marshall, whom you know only as the writer of a book on Java, is included in the list of Lemurians who now live upon this earth.
Is he?
Yes. You were on the yacht Polana when the young man whose first name was Andra died, I believe, Mrs. Regent.
Oh, yes, we were. But I mean, surely you're not suggesting...
I see you have already grasped my meaning. Geoffrey Marshall has been selected to prevent having to wait for a man in the next generation to take his place.
But do you choose people against their will?
Why should the human will deflect the operation of the law?
But what if Naji should die?
Then someone else must be found in whose body the soul of Naji could take its place.
Oh. Listen, Beatrice. When we were on the island of Lura, we went into a cave which was the temple of a strange pagan sect. Before the altar, the body of a girl was lying. She was dressed in the dress of ancient Egypt, but her face was the face of Naji.
Yes.
Was that girl really a former incarnation of Naji?
My dear Mrs. Regent, these are the things you cannot understand as yet. You must learn more of Lemuria and its history and its teachings.
Then...
All these things are woven into a great pattern which someday you yourself will be able to discern. Let me show you this book. Do you know the significance of the Seal of Solomon?
Oh, no. Only the few things my brother has told me.
It has far-reaching meanings that no one man can grasp. Do you understand, Mrs. Regent?
No, I don't. I'm afraid...
You are afraid, but you must not fear. Look. Look at the picture.
It is Naji.
Seated on Lemuria's golden throne with the symbol of eternal life beside her upon the golden scepter.
Oh, but how evil it seems. Beatrice, what is that awful thing?
Look at the picture, Mrs. Regent. Look. And know there is no one but you who can save your brother. Chandu must not interfere with the law of Lemuria. Look.
I'm constantly amazed that we're able to find great source material for some shows 80, 90 years ago, and stuff only going back 60 years, it's just junk. Sorry, but it happens sometimes. Okay, from May 26, 1933, almost 90 years ago, Chandu the Magician here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Please thank this station and support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. Also, if you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. You can hear each and every one of our shows on demand through Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Or you can also find our shows available on demand simply by going to my webpage, classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows. You can learn more about classic radio collecting. You can also contact me there. classicradio.stream. See, there's somebody contacting me now. classicradio.stream. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.